It is the most bet on props of the day from over at BetMGM. We'll talk Monday Night Football, of course. It is a propaganda. These are the most bet on props. 99% of money coming in on Brock Purdy over rushing yards. Christian McCaffrey over receiving yards. Alec Pierce over receiving yards. Jonathan Taylor over receiving yards and Jonathan Taylor over receptions. Interesting. We brought on a lot of guests today with mid-major Matt Jared Block. First off, Brock Purdy. The reason I would not take this over, despite his numbers being good, even against teams that are bad against the pass, for some reason those go hand in hand, that he runs the football a lot. You're getting a defense in the Colts that has been pretty good at limiting quarterbacks on the ground. The Colts have allowed the second least rushing yards per game to quarterbacks at 11. 64% of quarterbacks have gone under their rushing yard prop when facing Indy. So just be careful there of Brock Purdy. I know he could run. I'm not saying to bet the under. I'm just saying it's why I stayed away from the over. Christian McCaffrey over receiving yards. Obviously, that's public. Alec Pierce, if you just listen to Jared Block talking about this, the Niners do a good job of taking away receivers like an Alec Pierce. He said to look at Josh Downs. So that's something you could think of reading the public. Honestly shocked that Jonathan Taylor over receiving yards is the most bet on prop as opposed to rushing yards. Few other things to look at. Most bet on player props. Again, McCaffrey over receiving, Pierce over receiving, Pinheiro over field goals. I forgot to ask Jared if he agreed on Matt with that one, but Matt did like Pinheiro over field goals. Kittle over receiving yards. We pivoted. We went with the over longest reception for George Kittle. And Purdy over rushing yards. Most bet on anytime touchdown scorers. You insane people are parlaying McCaffrey into anytime touchdown parlays. George Kittle, Tyler Warren, Jawan Jennings, and Jonathan Taylor are if you're laying $2 on anytime touchdowns, guys, come on. Unfortunately, and if you ever see my Picket page, I try to hide these. My friends and I have been doing the squad rides, which are so much fun. Like every Sunday, we're doing a squad ride where me and 3 other friends are putting in a prop or a leg each. One of my friends doesn't know anything about betting, but we include her because she doesn't want to be left out, and she's been laying like minus 300 money lines. So I've been trying to find props that balances that. But then I had a friend who was raving about the fact that she hit her anytime touchdown score, but we were laying $2. And I'm like, of course you hit your $2 bet. Like, of course. We bet, I think it was $15 each for 4 legs to hit a 19-1 parlay. Didn't hit because I lost because I took freaking Hollywood Brown anytime touchdown and Gardner Minshew decided to tear his ACL. Aside for that, they all ended up hitting, but they're all celebrating. And I'm like, dude, I gave you a plus 425 anytime touchdown score, and you guys are laying $2-3 on these running backs to score. You're ruining our parlays. You're ruining them. Stop parlaying $2 or $3 favorites to go and score touchdowns. Boring. Okay. Prop Queen Edges of the day. I was trying to catch up on you guys in the chat. Prop Queen Edges of the day are just for Monday Night Football today. We'll focus on the big NBA slate tomorrow. Tomorrow, by the way, Kelly in Vegas is going to join the show, and I'll get us an NBA guest as well. Kelly will break down some early thoughts on the college football slate, Christmas slate, NFL slate, etc. But I've got Prop Queen Edges for just Monday Night Football today, and again, we'll do NBA tomorrow. I said I was very aligned with Jared Block in many ways. We were talking Purdy overs. We're talking 49ers longest reception props. Phillip Rivers, though, over those completions. And I just mentioned it. Phillip Rivers had this prop go from 16.5 a couple of days ago, now up to 17.5. He just had 18 in Seattle. Cam Ward just had 18 completions. Shedeur Sanders just had 16, but he went over his prop of 13.5. Bryce Young, 18. Jacoby Brissett, 47. Stafford, 24. Jackson Dart, 24 against San Francisco. Those are all the completions against San Fran. I even looked at San Fran's defense on the road. Shedeur was one of those where 49ers were on the road. Arizona, Brissett, 47. Jackson Dart, 24. Houston, 30. Tampa, 17. Like, those were all the road games as well. And Phillip Rivers, at home, inside, just had 18 on the road in Seattle outside. Inside should be a bit easier. And the Achilles heel of the Niners D is their secondary more so than their run D. So they're going to force Phillip Rivers to throw. Phillip Rivers is just going to have to dump the ball off. And if the public thinks that it's going to be Jonathan Taylor receiving yards, Phillip Rivers is going to have to throw, whether it's his running back, whether it's short field somewhere else to his receivers. I like Phillip Rivers to at least complete 18 passes tonight. And I usually hate betting these overs. I do. But it was the only one that made sense. To Jared Block's point, I can't bet him over passing yards. And for some reason, the pass attempts, it just wasn't there for me because San Fran actually allows more completions than attempts this year to quarterbacks. 70% of quarterbacks have gone over their completion prop when facing the 49ers this season. As for Brock Purdy, I was looking at over completions, attempts, yardage. I was looking at Purdy's numbers against bottom 10 pass Ds, which is the Colts. The Colts allow the third most passing yards per game, and it's going to get worse because of the injuries to the secondary, like Sauce Gardner. However, Brock Purdy against bottom 10 pass Ds dating back to the start of last year, because we only have a 2-game sample size this year. Against bottom 10 pass Ds dating back to last year, Brock Purdy averaging 24.5 completions, 32.5 pass attempts, 324 passing yards, 2.5 passing touchdowns, and 23 rushing yards. So his completions prop is 21.5, and he's averaging 24.5 in the last 2 years against bottom 10 pass Ds. On the road, he went over his completions in all 3. The Colts allow the second most completions per game at just under 24 a game. 71% of quarterbacks have gone over their completion prop against Indy. So you could look to the Brock Purdy over completions. It's right on par with the pass attempts, which is why I'm not going pass attempts for Purdy. 32.5 is what he averages. The prop's 32.5. Indy does allow they allow the most pass attempts per game, though. So you could look there if you like my method of, I don't normally like to bet over on completions because I just want the intent to be there. If the intent is there to throw, I only need to worry about Brock Purdy trying to throw. I don't need to also worry about the receiver completing the pass. So I'm staying away from attempts just because numbers-wise, it is spot on at 32.5. The least spot-on number is the passing yards. I agree with Mark. Mark's a 49ers fan. I agree that Brock Purdy over his passing yards makes the most sense. He is averaging 324 passing yards a game against bottom 10 pass Ds since last year. On the road, he's gone over in all 3 with at least 290 passing yards against all 3 of those teams that are bottom 10 against the pass. The Colts allow the third most passing yards per game, and 64% of quarterbacks have gone over their passing yards prop against the Colts. I would go with the over there on passing yards for Brock Purdy. Definitely going to be my prize picks lineup tonight. I was trying to figure out who I was going with longest reception. I love longest reception props in prime time against teams that are bottom 10 against the pass. I feel like we have to go with Kittle. It is the trend. The trend is Kittle. He's gone over the longest reception prop in 4 of his last 6 road primetime games with Brock Purdy under center, without Ricky Pearsall, who's out tonight with an ankle and knee injury. Overall, Kittle's averaging just over 28 yards per longest catch in road primetime games without Pearsall and with Purdy. On the road this year with Purdy under center, Kittle's had at least 30-yard catches in 2 of those 3 games. He's gone over his longest reception prop in 4 straight with Brock Purdy under center. 5 straight that Kittle's gone over a receiving yard prop of 66.5. Indy's allowed the 5th most receiving yards per game to tight ends. 64% of tight ends have also gone over their longest reception prop against the Colts. So I love George Kittle tonight. I'd probably do what Jared Bach did and did longest reception on Kittle and just receiving yards for Jawan Jennings, because Jennings, he has had the most big catches on the team with 7, tied with McCaffrey and Pearsall. But I haven't seen it enough lately, especially with Brock Purdy. And even though Kendrick Bourne's numbers are better, they're better with Mac Jones, not with Brock Purdy, unfortunately. Jennings is only averaging just under 16 yards per longest reception with Brock Purdy. He's only gone over it in 1 of 6 games. So I can't go longest reception on Jennings, but I will go Jennings receiving yards, Kittle longest reception, Purdy over receiving yards. I guess Rivers over completions. I wish I had an under to give you, but I don't really have an under to give you today. I want to look up some total tackle props too. Maybe I'll find a Colts total tackle prop instead of a Phillip Rivers prop. I just don't feel confident. But again, in prize picks, you do need to have a player from each side in order to prize picks this lineup. So I definitely need to find something on the Colts side, because I do love a Kittle longest reception, at least, that I want to throw in there. And I do like Jennings, because if you do look also at the last 5 games that the Colts have played, The receivers have been, number one receivers have been crushing. Jackson Smith-Njigba had a 39-yard catch. He went over 27.5. Brian Thomas had a 39-yard catch. Nico Collins had a 29-yard catch. Rashid Rice had a 47-yard catch. Drake London had a 30-yard catch. So they are giving up chunk plays to these number one wide receivers, which is why I love Jennings. So I guess we just have to assume he's going to get a lot of different chunk plays, which might not be 22 yards, but they might be 15, 16-yard catches that helps us hit that 56-yard number. So I would go there. I'm going to look at this. Cross 6 tackles plus assists for the Colts. Thank you. I'm going to look at that on props.cash after the show. I'm Cross. You got it. Thank you. I love total tackle props in prime time. They're my favorite. I just didn't have time because I'm working on all these other things. I'm working on all these things to help build Prop Queen. And I'm going to, again, I keep saying it, but I'm going to create useful tools, some free ones as well that I'll be giving out this week for Christmas. So stay tuned for these free tools. I'm going to try to work on it tomorrow. Hopefully have it to you by Wednesday so you can have it for the Thursday games. Some free tools to use to definitely help grow like how you guys do. That's my goal, is to help you guys gamble better. I never like to tout myself as a sharp. I'm not. I just like to help you guys make smarter bets, get as much possible information that you guys could have. I love that you guys also in the chat give each other good info. Hopefully it's good info and not BS. But a lot of the time it is very good info that you guys help each other out. That's what we're here for, is to help each other out, to make some money, because the enemy is not us. It's not each other. It's the book. We got to make money. Royal locks of the day. Best bets. Let's get to Royal locks. Royal locks. Brock Purdy over his passing yards. Again, he should have 300 tonight. I would be surprised if he didn't. Brock Purdy is averaging 324 passing yards a game dating back to last year against teams that are bottom 10 against the pass, going over 290 yards in all three of those road games that are bottom 10 against the pass dating back to the start of last year. Jennings over his longest reception. I think I'm going to pivot now and go Jennings over receiving yards. I haven't bet it yet. I was waiting to see what Jared and Matt had to say. I think I'm convinced by Jared. We're going to go Jennings over receiving yards, and we're going to go Kittle over longest reception. I really like the 49ers props tonight. It is hard to like a Colts prop tonight when you only have a one-game sample size. Whew. I feel like I've been talking for a while. We're 15 over. It is us versus Vegas, us versus the books.